So, guys, I am new at this, so just bear with me. And of course, my dog starts barking as soon as I get started here. Alrighty, so the case I'm going to share with you today is actually out of Detroit, Michigan. It's actually similar to a case that I have already covered on my channel. That particular case was out of Florida, and it's a lot similar. You can actually go to my channel and watch this particular case, but same kind of thing. This guy, Jonathan, his name was Jonathan, and he did the same thing as the guy I'm gonna talk to you about today. He was a predator. He preyed. He groomed. You know, he he got her pregnant. She's about 17. He got her pregnant. So when he learns that, that that's the case, things go south, and he worked at a salvage yard. So he actually disposed of her. He killed her in that yard, picked her up from school after school, and he disposed of her body and killed her in that yard. And actually, afterwards, he put her body in a vehicle that was going to be crushed. So to this day, she has never been found as well. But he did get sentenced, and I think if I remember correctly, he got life. So yeah. So, but let's talk about Naziah Harris. Now, Naziah Harris was from Detroit, Michigan. She lived a pretty um, she lived a pretty rough life. And to be honest with you, she never had a chance. And this is where I say that, generational curses. We have to break generational curses, because if we don't, it's just going to keep trickling from one generation to the other. And that's exactly what happened in this case of Najiah Harris. Now, on January 9th, 2024, 13-year-old Naziah Harris got off of the school bus in the area of Conwell Street and 3 Mile, which is near intersection of, they say, Warren Avenue and Outer Drive on Detroit's east side. She had her hair a whole lot similar, as you can see in the picture. Let me get back to her. Let me put her back on here so you can see. Oh, okay. This is how she had her hair um, on the last day or when she got off the school bus. And this picture she actually took at school the day that she went missing. So this is actually the hairstyle that she had at the moment. Those are the same glasses that she had on and the same outfit. So when she got off the school bus, of course, she still had these same clothing on. Um, Now, on top of her clothing, she also had um, a Rugrats. They say it was like a real colorful Rugrats puffy jacket, and the collar had like with it had a fur lined hood. Her jeans were light blue, and she also had on like shoes. However, Naziah didn't go home, and she was reported missing by her adopted mother, Annette Harris, who is her biological grandmother, the following day, not to the police, but to the public school police, who got federal law enforcement involved, as well as the U.S. Marshals. Now, Naziah's father, just a little bit information about her parents. Naziah's father had serious medical issues, and he actually passed away the summer of that, Naziah went missing of congestive heart failure. He spent months searching for her, like in fields and in abandoned buildings and homes and stuff while he was sick. And he actually didn't know she had disappeared until weeks later. So when he did find out, he did spend time up until, he couldn't anymore searching, fields and abandoned buildings and houses for Naziah. Now her mother had addiction struggles, but wait, how did Naziah's grandmother get custody of her? And the reason I ask is because when she was, married with her children or not married, raising her children, she had a total of 7. She lost every single one of them to CPS. And the reason why she lost them is because they were running away. Like each time around the age of 16 or 17, they would run away. Now, with the exception of Naziah's mom. Naziah's mom, she actually ran away at the age of 13, so she was a whole lot younger, which is the same age that Naziah is at the time that she became missing. Now, Annette, she also suffered from abuse in her childhood. Now, she was found in a crack house at the age 11, pregnant. Now, from what I'm understanding, she was pregnant by her biological brother. And once the family, knew about all of this, they placed her in that crack house to cover up that abuse. So the ideal was just to make people, think that she was found in a crack house pregnant and they don't know who the father is. So that was just their way of covering it up. So now we got Annette, which is Anaya's grandmother. We got her mother, and then we got Anaya. So there's 3 generations right there already that have been ruined, starting with Annette. Now, 2 of Naziah's aunts, they were estranged from her immediate family, but they suspected abuse in the home, reported concerns to the Child Protective Service multiple times in 8 months leading up to her disappearance. They just swept it under the rug, saying, well, I don't get in my kids' business. We're going to handle it. Now, that's what Naziah's great aunt said that Annette said when they questioned her about it. And she was like, how can, you're going to handle it? The way to handle it is to call the proper authorities. But, of course, Annette did nothing. Now, Naziah and her 16-year-old brother remained in the home under the adoptive care of Annette. May 7, 2024, Jarvis Butts was named a suspect in Naziah's disappearance. Look at this dude. Disgusting. Jarvis Butts. Now, see how I say he looks a whole lot similar to the guy in the other case that I was telling you about earlier? But that is Jonathan Butts. I'm sorry, Jarvis Butts. They actually had a hearing for him on the 6th of this month, and the evidence was so overwhelming that it led the tragic, conclusion that Naziah was murdered by Butts. And at the time, he was 41, but he has now turned 42. Butts is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with Naziah. He was charged with first-degree premeditated murder, second-degree criminal sexual conduct, and child safety abuse activity. I'm sorry, child SA abuse activity. Butts had a history of targeting and befriending women to get close to and to be able to abuse their daughters. He was well known to Naziah because he is the father. Now check this out. This is how he got close to Naziah. He is the father of the 5 children with Naziah's biological aunt, Shannon. So let's just look at the family. Let's just check them out. All right. All right. So the one that you see in the pink, that is Shannon. Her twin sister over to the left in the blue, that's her twin sister. And then the other one over here, I'm not for sure which one that is. She's not involved in any of this. And then, of course, this lady in the black in the middle is Annette. So Jarvis had 5 kids by Shannon. Now, Jarvis had been around Shannon since she was 16. So when she turned like 17, she had her first kid by Jarvis. So she was kind of preyed upon too. Now, now at this point, they have 5 kids. Now, I'm not for sure when she had the last one, but it is said that in this particular photo, she was pregnant at that particular time. And at the time that Naziah disappeared, she was supposedly had been pregnant as well. But yeah, Shannon has 5 kids with Jarvis. Now, Jarvis had been preying upon Naziah since September of 2022. Now, he would send her sexually explicit texts and photos to her phone. Now, at the time, she was only 11. When he started preying upon her, she was only 11 years old. And she's 11 years old, and he's sending her pictures, inappropriate pictures to her phone. In return, she did the same thing. Now, prior to Jarvis, Naziah had lived in the home with Annette, and Annette had she also had Naziah's brother, and she also had 5 other kids. So she had like 7, 7 other kids all in the home. So the home that they were living in at the time that Naziah came up missing, that was the like another home they had lived in. Prior to that, she lived in another area, and the reason why she moved was because Naziah had got involved with an older man, and the older guy was autistic. So, and he was high functioning autistic. So this was the reason why, they didn't press any charges or do anything like that. But they did move to the location that they are at the moment when Naziah came up missing. So, it was said that, Naziah was, active. Naziah was doing what she was taught. And that's because that's what her guardian knew to do. And that's what her mother knew to do. So she's just a child. So you can't hold her accountable. Now, in September of 23, Naziah texts Jarvis and says she had not had her cycle. And it is proven that in a couple months later that he knew for sure that she was pregnant. But the weird thing is he already had 20 plus kids. Like, no joke, this dude had like 20 plus kids. He had kids by women everywhere. He had baby mamas on top of baby mamas. And I think he was also married at the time as well. And then he was dating Shannon. And then at one point he was messing with Shannon's sister. He just, who knows? Who knows if grandma hasn't messed with him? But this dude is disgusting. He's just totally disgusting. But he already had like 20 plus kids. And most of those kids were by underage women when they got pregnant. So this is something that he's experienced that for quite some time. Now, after he learned about Naziah's pregnancy, he Googled, why does everybody commit crimes go and Google? Like the last few cases that I've done and covered on my channel, like all those several people, those particular people that has caused those crimes have went on Google and searched stuff. Why? Who does that? But anyway, he had went online and searched for information about abortion pills on like this Parenthood website. And he also searched for the over the counter abortion medication and websites about herbal teas that advertise an abortion method. And this is the one that got me, drinking red antifreeze. Now, on the day of Naziah's disappearance, she used an issued device from her school to communicate with Jarvis on the day, she didn't have a phone. So that when she was at school, she used her school device to communicate with him. Now, that picture I showed you, let me go ahead and put that picture up again. This is the last picture she took. She also took this picture on that device before she texted Jarvis. Now, she wanted to make sure that they were going to be meeting up that day after she got out of school. So this is the reason why, she was texting him. She meets up with Butts. So basically school lets out. She gets off the school bus where she's supposed to get off the school bus like she does every other day. But Naziah didn't go home. Instead, she meets up with Jarvis and his co-worker. Now, Jarvis, he co-owned an auto shop in Detroit. So him and his co-worker supposedly happened to be running errands or running to take something back to AutoZone, and they seen Naziah walking. And he goes, "Oh, there goes my niece." Okay, really? He knew what he was doing. He knew that he was going to meet up with her. But anyway, they pick her up, they do what they got to do, and they go back to the shop. Now, at some point while they're at the shop, Jarvis's sister comes by, so she sees Naziah at the shop. So that's one evidence right there that Naziah was at that shop. And this was around about 4:30. 4:30, 5 o'clock, I think she said that she went by the shop, and Naziah was at that shop. Now, at some point, they go and they leave again, and they go back to the shop. So the shop was located. They say the shop was located on Connor. Now, the thing is Jarvis's phone places him at all of those locations. It placed him at the shop. It placed him leaving. It placed him coming back. So all those locations, his phone pinged him at those locations. Now, around about 9:30 p.m. to it was like 12 o'clock the next day, he was checked into a motel. Now, the motel is right across the street from where the shop was. So he checks into that motel. Now, it is seen on camera Naziah with him when he checks into that motel. But there was nothing that they could have proof of how she left, or if she left, or or how he left, or whatever, because at that point the cameras wasn't working. Now, after 9:30 p.m., there is no evidence of Naziah. There's like no activity on her social media accounts, and she had like no contact with her family and friends. Now, Naziah's body has not been found today, but prosecutors believe that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she is dead. Now, the age of her unborn child is unknown. Now, due, of course, that she's not being found. But I'm going to show you a picture. Now, remember, she tells him around about September that she missed her period. Now, October goes along, and November goes along, and and now he's recognizing that, okay, you need to. She's pregnant. I got to do something here. So this is when he's buying her a pregnancy test. And obviously they learned that she's pregnant. And then here we go with the techniques that he's searching online of trying to get rid of her. Now, this is a picture of Naziah. I'm sorry, guys. Bear with me. Now, this right here was her father. That's her father. Okay. Now, this is her mother. As you can see, the 2014 is when Naziah was much younger. And as you can see, the drugs that her mother has been fighting with, the drug addiction struggles she's been fighting, it has really made a change on her. Because this picture here is 10 years later. And there's a big difference, a very big difference. But it seems like she, seems to be doing well. This picture out here is where she is out looking for Naziah. So she from what I learned, she wasn't a bad mom. She just became a victim, and where her mother was a victim, and she had left the family home at the age of 13. She just I guess she just did the best she could. Now, from what I understand, their parents met through a work relationship. So the father um needed some, some work done. And it was, from what I understand, he did work with housing, like he built houses or some type of work in that manner. And he met Nazaya's mom and said she was very good at that type of work, and she began to work for him. And then at some point she came pregnant with Nazaya. So here it goes. Now, not only things are messed up on her mom's side, but now things are messed up on her dad's side, because when she becomes pregnant with Nazaya, this guy has a family. He's married and has a family. So, she went back and forth, what to do. So she decided, of course, to keep Nazaya, and I think at some point he became involved in Nazaya's life, but I mean, I don't know how much that was with him having a wife and a family and the way things happened. I just don't know how all that worked out. But he did say that it had been a while, like once Annette got custody of Nazaya, he tried to make arrangements with her to be involved with her and in her life. And he did pay child support. But of course, an, if you know the whole story behind this, Annette, in my opinion, was money hungry. She got them kids for that reason and that reason only. Because obviously she didn't raise her own. So, in the way things were in the home, she wasn't raising these kids either. Nazaya was, very involved at a very young age, not properly being watched, not properly being educated, and her brother ran away from the home when he was 16. So, and he hasn't came back. Now, I've seen something where he does have a child of his own, and this is Nazaya's brother, but he does have a child of his own, and I thought I saw something where he just recently got a job, so it seems like he's trying to do the right things. Now, just think about this. Jarvis started grooming Nazaya in September of 2022. And this is the same month, the same year that her brother like disappeared. So or left the home. So it makes me wonder, like, if he would have stayed around, like, would things would have been a little bit different? Like, was she, because they seem to have a very close relationship, once her brother left, maybe that, changed things a little bit more for her. She not only does she have the support at home, her very close, who she's very close to has left the home. So for the life of me, I do not know why CPS, or how CPS put these kids with their grandmother Annette. I, I, I can't. I don't get it, because, like, even after people have complained, and with multiple issues, and then the family, the estranged family, after their complaints and everything, like, what, I guess she just had a good way of covering things up. She had to, because this house was so broken. Like, the things that went on in this home was so ridiculous. So I guess she just had a great way of covering things up. All right, I'm gonna show you guys just bear with me for 1 second here. I'm sorry, guys. I am new at this. And at this point, I am trying to wing it. Now, Nazia's grandma and her aunt Shannon, I'm sorry, I feel like they lied in court. They did testify at the hearing, and I feel like they lied in court. And honestly, I think they're involved. Because think about this. Now, remember when I said that Annette didn't report Nazia missing until the next day? What? Are you serious? If my child, if my child was supposed to get off the school bus at 3 o'clock, and and if she's not in the house, at least by 3:05, because from what I understand, she had to walk a few houses to get to her house. But if she wasn't in the house by 3:05, I'm um I'm calling the school. I'm calling the school. I'm calling, checking around. I'm talking to her friends. I'm gonna try to find out, okay, what's going on. She couldn't call her because she didn't have a phone. So she couldn't call her. But I would definitely be calling like the school or something. But no, they waited until the next day. Like after the other kids went to school. After she then goes in and reports, Nazia missing. But she didn't even report it to law enforcement. She claimed that she was going to go there after she left the school. And then she's going to go and report it to law enforcement. But honestly, that's why I feel like they're involved. I feel like she's involved and Shannon's involved because I feel like they didn't report it because they were involved and it gave, them the opportunity to have time to cover things up. Now, when they realize she's missing, excuse me, Shannon texts this Jarvis's phone and asks him, is Nazia at the shop? And that she was missing. And his response is, oh wow. Now, if you I don't know, maybe. I don't know if I could have texted and asked him. I don't even know if I could have called and asked him. I would have definitely had to probably get in my car and drive out there and see for myself. That would have been probably what she should have did. Because if she was there and he didn't want her to know she was there, then why would he tell her that she was there? But she knew she was there. I believe she really knew that she was there. But let me see if I can find this video for you guys. I switched computers. So I already had it ready on another computer. He had a fiance as well. He had girlfriends, fiancés. Now, I don't think the fiance had any children by him, but yeah, he was just being very fruitful in the most disgusting way. Let's see. Let me just go to my history. If I open everything up. Oh my God, I feel like kind of a little bit lost right now. Boy, I tell you guys, y'all hold on to your children like tight because just today, just looking at the missing children, just in the last 2 or 3 days, it's horrible around the world. It's just horrible. Yeah. Hold on to your kids. All right. So Shannon's got confronted. Now, okay. Shannon's twin sister has a boyfriend. And he has his own crib. And Shannon lives there with her crew as well, her 5 kids. Now, check this out. Let me make sure I get the time frames right because I don't want to tell you wrong. I don't want to tell you wrong. Okay, let's see. So, this is not the only essay case that Jarvis was involved with. He was also charged for reportedly abusing 2 other young girls, as well as a conviction for abusing or for an assault in 2005. So he's been doing this for quite some time. Now the first person they referred to was an 8-year-old family member, and a next person that he violated was a 4-year-old. And it was supposed to be his girlfriend's 4-year-old daughter. Now, some say that it was also his daughter. I didn't see anything or find anything that particularly said that said it was his daughter too, but it was all I seen it was his girlfriend's daughter. And check this out. He gave her chlamydia. He gave her at the age of 4. Now, from what I learned, that the 8-year-old family member was Shannon's sister's child. So I'm like, it's this whole you never know what goes on behind closed doors. That is a true saying. You just never know what goes on behind closed doors. Now, one of those victims who is now 20, which was the 8-year-old, she was assaulted by him from 2012 to 2014. And the other victim, who is now 13, was assaulted from July. They said it was like from July 2015 to July 2017. And he had also served time in prison in 2004 for the same thing. So at least since 2004, we know he's been, you know, he's been trifling. Let's just put it that way. Now, Nazia's cousin, who was 8 years old at the time, see what Jarvis would do is he would have his daughter, which is by one of his baby mamas, and then he would have Nazia to come down to the shop. So he say to do a little chores or whatever around the shop. That was his reason. He said he was bringing them to the shop, but her 8-year-old cousin, well, she was 8 years old at the time. She testified that she recalled on 2 separate occasions that Jarvis took her, Nazia, and another child to the auto shop, and she said he had can't say that word, but he had S with Nazia Um, on both occasions, on the two occasions he took them three to the shop, on both occasions he had S with Naziah and the other girl. And the second occasion, he even tried with her, the 8-year old at the time, and she, she just kept refusing. So, eventually he just gave up and she said he took her home. So yeah, he was preying on them, on Naziah at the shop, and not only her, other kids too. Now, on January 10th, 2024, the day after she was last seen, Jarvis was allegedly in the area of, they say, the Rouge River in Detroit. The clothes that Naziah was last seen wearing were found in the area as well. So police said that, tips led them to that area. And it's actually located behind a church called Greater Grace Temple off of 7 Mile Road. Now, they were assisted, the police and, which was the local, the state, federal, they all, spent hours and, searching for Naziah, but they had no luck. Like, to this day, once again, she still has not been located. So the question is, where is Naziah? Where could she possibly be? I pray to God that she's still alive. I guess, guys, let me tell you, the worst thing you can do is put a child in a situation where they feel like what they're doing is okay at that age, because that's exactly what he did. He had this girl because during the hearing there were text messages, and the text messages that were exchanged between these two were like horrible. And it was said that he didn't live in the home, but if he didn't live in that home, or if he didn't go in that home, why did some of these messages, see if I can find those messages, why did some of these messages, oh, I gotta get that video for you guys too, why did some of these messages say meet me in the basement? Like, come on now. Because, Annette made it clear. Annette and Shannon, made it clear that, once the estranged family found out about, Naziah or whatever in the situation with, Jarvis, they sure that, everything was fine. Nothing was wrong. But yeah, I think they knew all along what was going on. And if they didn't know at first, I think they eventually found out. And if all of them is not involved, Shannon, I think, is definitely involved. I think she know more than what she's portraying. And if that's the case, she definitely got in court and she lied. She definitely lied. Let's see. These text messages will blow your mind. Okay. Okay, let's check this one out first. Now, guys, I'm probably not going to read these out loud. I don't know. I'm just going to probably let you read them because they are rough. Like, you're immediately going to be feeling sick. Like, Okay. Now, this one right here is a message that she sent to him in 2023, to like June 2023. So as you can see, like I said, like she was asking him, where are we doing? Like, where are we going? Where's this gonna happen at? And he was telling her, or of course, he gave her the choice, and then
Would you ever know Messiah to go to Jarvis's shop alone?
No.
Whose birthday is on or around September 26th?
That's my my fourth oldest birthday.
Do you recall a birthday party on September 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And was Jarvis there?
No.
Okay. And that would have been his son's birthday party?
Yes.
Were there ever times that you would text Jarvis off of a text now number?
The only time I would text Jarvis off a text now number is if my phone is off. Other than that, no.
And do you recall the numbers that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
Okay. And does a 586-510-5161 sound familiar?
Yes.
And what number is that?
That used to be my old number.
And is that number that you would text Jarvis from?
Yes.
And what about a 586-842-4504?
That was the number before this number.
Before the 510 number?
Correct.
Okay. And is that a number you would also text Jarvis from?
Correct.
And what number did you have for Jarvis Butts?
The 313-585-8719.
And did you have any numbers for Messiah?
It was a funny looking area code. The area code was a 231.
Okay. I want to show you some messages from People's Exhibit 16 and ask you some questions about them, okay?
Okay.
Aaron, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm going to direct you to messages on or about June 27th of 2023. Do you recall those messages? Did you send any of those messages to Jarvis Butts?
No.
Okay. And do you know, I believe there's a phone number here that's highlighted. Whose phone number do you know that to be?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And you don't recall ever sending any of those messages?
No.
Okay. And now I want to direct you to messages from June 28th of 2023. How about any of these? Did you send any of these to Jarvis Butts?
No.
What about any messages from July 2nd of 2023? Did you send any of those messages?
No.
What about messages from August 26th, 2023. Did you send any of those to Jarvis Butts?
I'm sorry, was the old receipts?
August 26th.
No, these aren't my messages.
Did Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Neziah texted him to meet up on January 9th, 2024?
No,
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being
Now, Tuda was her nickname. That's what they called her. So keep that in mind what she just said. She was like, I messaged him. I asked him, was Tuda there? He said, whatever. And then I texted him back later and asked him, still no Tuda. And he said, oh, wow. Now, this is the part where I was saying, there is no way that I would text her. I'm sorry. I would have texted him and asked him that. I would have got in my car and I'd have went out to that shop. Because if he had her and he didn't want her to know, of course he's going to say no. But she knew she was there because Neziah asked her, could she go to the shop after school, asked Shannon, and Shannon knew she was at that shop. Like I said, Shannon knows more than what she's putting on. Let me back it up a little bit so you can hear that again. You know, like I said, Shannon had 5 children by Jarvis. She had been involved with him since she was 16. Now she's sitting on the stand at 31 years of age. So she done learned that Neziah is having relationships with him. And now Neziah is pregnant. So, you know, of course, you know, she's going to probably, and Neziah is her niece. So, yeah, she's probably feeling some type of way. I think Shannon knows more than what she's putting on.
about, and I said no to the, and he responded back, oh, wow.
I didn't hear what you said.
I might have went back a little bit too far. Let's see.
26. Did Jarvis Butts ever tell you that Neziah texted him to meet up on January 9th, 2024?
No.
Did you tell Jarvis Butts about not being able to locate Neziah on January 9th, 2024?
Yes.
Listen to this.
And tell me, how did you tell him that?
I called him. He didn't answer. I sent him a message asking him, have he seen Tuda, any whereabouts? And I said no Tuda, and he responded back. Oh wow.
I didn't hear what you said. The last part.
Last part I had, I texted him. Well, first I called him. He didn't answer. The second time I sent him a message, still no Tuda. He replied back, oh wow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And
Man, y'all just hear what she said.
yeah,
She said, first I called him, he didn't answer. So the second time I texted him and I said, still no tutor. And he said, oh, wow. You didn't talk to him the first time. So how did he know that Neziah, that you were looking for Neziah? Like, your second call, you come out and automatically said, still no tutor, like you had talked to him the first time and, and you let him know you were looking for her, couldn't find her, whatever. But no, you said you got no answer. So why the second time when you texting, you said still no tutor, like you had already talked to him about Neziah or tutor?
and for record references, I'm showing her what's going to be proposed, People's Exhibit 48. Ms. Harris, those text messages that you just referenced, do you see those on this page?
Yes.
And so it's fair to say you stated to Mr. Butts, well, first of all, whose phone number is this at the top?
The phone number is my old telephone number.
Okay, and who is the phone number below that?
Jarvis Butts.
Okay. And is this, I guess, did these fairly and accurately represent these two messages? 3, 4, 5, 6 messages sent between you and Mr. Butts on January 9th, 2024 through January 11th, 2024.
The first page is, yes, it's correct. Second page, it's correct. Yes.
Okay. And so on January 9th, like you had indicated before, you had stated that you told him that there was still no Tutta.
Correct.
Okay. And you said he responded, oh, wow.
Correct.
Okay. And on January 11th, was Neziah still missing?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
At this point, I just asked that if she's going to read from the text message, just admit the exhibit.
I can.
Initially, was moving to admit.
No, Judge.
Okay.
These fairly and accurately represent text messages between you and your phone to Jarvis and his phone between, well, they start back earlier. Some from December 3rd, 2023 through January 21st of 2024. These fairly and accurately represent text messages between
Yes.
you and your phone to Mr. Butts and his phone.
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 48.
Okay, they'll be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. So on January 11th, did you ask Mr. Butts to do something?
Yes.
And what is it that you asked him to do?
I asked him, can he share the missing flyer on his Facebook page?
Okay. And did you send him a copy of that missing flyer?
Yes.
Okay. And
He probably didn't even share it.
to backtrack just a little bit, on December 3rd, 2023, do you recall sending messages asking Mr. Butts if he needed Nizaya for anything?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay. So do you remember this text on the first page of People's Exhibit 48?
Yes, I do remember this message.
Okay. And did you send that message?
Yes.
Okay. And what did the message say?
Tada said, do you still need her too?
Okay. And do you know what is that referring to?
It was, Tada had asked me to contact Jarvis and see if he still needed them to clean up.
Okay. And that would be to clean up his shop?
Yes.
Okay. And to fast forward, on January 21st, 2024, you sent some messages to Mr. Butts. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read these last three messages?
These last three messages is, to be honest, these messages I seen into the inbox to you. I really don't know what to believe anymore. Stay away, Ramon. I mean it. The next message is I don't know what to say or Twitter is on. Says this shit doesn't sit right with me. Call it what you want. I'm good, period. It says, this for life. Nigga, I thought about it. And you can pass it.
And
And don't call me. No need to explain shit. I already see it.
okay. So you were referencing some messages that you saw in Tada's inbox.
Correct.
Tell me, how did you see some messages? Well, first of all, where these messages, where were they at?
The day of Officer Gardner came to pick up Nazaya's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. Officer Gardner, after that, Officer Gardner called and said she's on her way.
Without saying what.
Okay, I'm sorry. The officer had called and said that they was on their way to come
Still
pick up
hearsay?
the tablet.
Okay,
Okay. So
sustain as far as hearsay.
yes, thank you, Judge. Okay, continue.
So before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside to this tablet. She has two passwords that I normally know. So one of them is referenced for her brother's birthday, and the other one is referenced from my password. So I put the first password in, it didn't work. So I put the second password in. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butts' Instagram page. I clicked on his page and I seen two messages.
Okay. And what were the messages that you saw? Who were they between, first of all?
Nazaya, my niece, and Jarvis.
Okay. And what were the messages that you seen?
It was roughly two messages that I have seen that I can recall. States.
I'm gonna object to this as hearsay. They have not been admitted, and the messages themselves would be the evidence.
Were they of any? Were the messages of a sexual nature?
No.
Okay. And you said you saw two messages.
Yes.
Okay. Did you see anything else?
It was two sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. There wasn't nothing there, but it was a picture was sent.
Okay. What did seeing those messages, what did they cause you to do?
Well, when I see no messages, I called him
Who's
and Jarvis Butts.
Okay.
Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? So there's two particular messages that states out in this picture. And he stated that, I don't know, these messages, I told him what the messages were. And he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
And reading those messages, is that what caused you to text
Mr. Butts, yes,
Mr. Butts, in that you've seen the messages in the inbox and you don't really know what to believe anymore?
correct.
One second, Rich.
And he's sitting in the back of the courtroom over there behind his attorneys. He can't even hold his head up.
So.
I hope y'all get to see him when he exits the courtroom.
Were you home
He's
that day?
limping. Supposedly he's gotten beat up.
That day?
My senior did that morning, correct.
And do you remember what she was wearing at all?
Her coat and her uniform at the time, she had on some blue jeans. I don't really recall the outfit. I just know the coat she had on.
And what was the coat that she had on?
She had on, it was a 90s coat with all the characters on it.
And
Let me see if
you
I can
recall
find
seeing
that
her wearing
coat.
that the morning of January 9th?
Correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach people's already exhibit 2?
Yes.
I'm going to show you people's exhibit 2. Can you tell me, do you recognize a coat in this photo?
Yes.
And whose coat do you recognize that to be?
Nazia's.
Okay. Now, after you were, when you saw Naziah that morning, what did you do the rest of the morning?
Nothing. I was at home with my mom and my 2 children.
And do you ever leave the house at any point that day?
No, I was at the house the whole entire day.
And do you know what time Naziah would normally get home from school?
On certain days, she will stay for after school, and then on certain days she will come home. The days she will stay for after school is 6, and the days that she don't, it's at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And on January 9th, do you know if Naziah had the after-school program?
Yes. At that time, my mom took her out of the after-school program, so she will come home directly at 3 o'clock.
Okay. And were you home at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
And did you see Naziah come home?
No.
And did you see her come home at all the rest of the night?
No.
Were you
Did you go look for her?
at any
Nope.
point after 3 o'clock?
No.
Did you, yes, when Naziah didn't come home, did that cause you to experience or feel any type of way?
It did. When she didn't come home is when my mom went to go pick up the other 2 children from the after-school program. They knocked on the door, and they had asked a question and said,
Objection, sounds like hearsay.
Was it, you have a response or?
A question isn't hearsay technically.
I think she said she said.
It's just a question.
I'm
Yes.
just getting ready to say a question. Okay,
What was
finish
the,
what you're saying.
what was the question?
The 2 children had asked me, Mom said, did
That's the hearsay.
did Naziah come home?
The hearsay is mom said.
Okay, so were you asked directly whether Naziah came home?
So my mom was still in the car. I was inside the house. They was coming to the house, walking up to the door. When I opened the door, they asked me. Mom said, "Did Naziah come home?" I said, "No,
And was Naziah home at all?
no."
Okay. And did you do any sort of looking for Naziah that night?
No.
Yes.
What did you do?
I called my twin sister. I called some of her friends that I know that's and everything. And when I reached out to my sister. She said no. Her friend said no. So after that, I asked my mom, did she want me to call police? She said no, she will take it up in the morning.
Just one second.
Y'all hear that? Ain't no way I would have waited till in the morning. Dysfunctional. Ain't no way.
Shannon, did you know desire to have a pair of red and black Nike shoes?
Yes.
And if I showed you a picture of them, would you be able to identify them?
Yes.
Karen, may I approach?
I'm gonna show y'all that picture.
Going to be from People's Proposed Exhibit 14.
He's showing her them shoes.
Do you recognize these shoes?
Yes, that's a pair of shoes that my mom bought her to the birthday.
Thank you. Now, back on the 9th, you said your mom was going to file a police report in the morning.
Correct.
Okay. Did you go with her to file a police report in the morning?
No, it was my older sister.
Did you do anything on the 10th as it relates to trying to find Isaiah?
Yes. We went out, I and some others
Y'all see my
went out
face.
to go get some pictures, made copies. We went to other stores, passed out flyers, and everything that we need to do. Now, what was asked of us to do.
Since January 9th, 2024, have you seen Isaiah?
No.
Have you, since January 9th, 2024, have you heard from Isaiah?
No.
Nothing further at this time, Judge.
I bet you she know what happened to her though. I swear I think she's involved. I really do. Because, like I said, she had 5 kids by Jarvis.
You and Mr. Butts have been.
She learns that he's
for about 12
messing with her niece, Nazaya.
And fair to say that you were in a dating relationship with him for most of that time,
Correct.
but towards the end, like last year, it was more off and on, fair to say,
No, it was on and off for years.
for years, okay. But you have 5 children with him,
Correct.
and this relationship that you had with him, even towards the end when it was on, it was a sexual relationship, right?
Correct.
Sometimes you go to a motel to have sex with him,
Correct. Yes.
and that motel was the Park Crest Inn.
Or the SharePoint.
There was more than one,
Multiples, yes.
but one of them was the Park Crest. Said yes,
Correct.
and it said in Harper Woods
Correct.
on Harper.
Okay, so while they're talking about the hotels right here, now, like I said, there was a hotel right across the street from the filling station or the gas station, the auto shop or whatever that he co-owned with his friend. And the travel, the one she's calling, I'm gonna give you a picture, but that one is the one that he took Nazaya to. But as you can hear, Shannon will also when she first was having relations with Jarvis, she was also taken to that hotel as well as 2 other hotels that he used frequently. So if you really think about it, he just went, like I said, I'm not surprised if grandma has not been with Travis. Jarvis. I don't know why I can't get his name right, but I'm not surprised grandma has not been with him because supposedly when at one like supposedly okay, I'm just gonna tell you. Shannon's twin sister has a boyfriend that they met online. And this case is so big, and the trial hasn't even started yet. But her twin sister met this guy online. And at first, when he was seeing her, he would go to Annette's house to visit with her. Because at the time, that's where everybody lived. It was Annette, the crew she had, it was Shannon, her 5 kids, because obviously Shannon is not responsible to keep a place of her own. She, is consistently getting evicted. And then it was her sister, her twin sister. I think her name was Makika, but I'm not for sure, and I don't want to mess it up. But at first, he would just stay in the room that was the sister's room. So he didn't know a lot of stuff that was going on or whatever was going on outside that room. But now that all this has came out, now before that, since then, him and the twin sister had got their own place. Now that all this has come out, he's starting to put stuff together, and he he wants her to go. Shannon and the twin sister and Shannon will not leave his house. Like they have really taken over his apartment. Like he's asked them multiple times to get out, to go. He didn't want them there, blah, 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 blah. And they will not go. And he's like a hostage in his own apartment. He's actually staying in one room doing interviews with people about how much he hates them and all that he's found out what's going on with them. So yeah, it's crazy. But the point of me telling you that is he also said in one of his interviews that when he first met the sister, the sister, Shannon, him, and Jarvis all got together and had relations at the hotel one night. So, like I said, this whole family is strange. That's the only word I can think of right now is dysfunctional. That's the better word. Oh, one more thing. I wanted to talk to you guys about them shoes. Let me show you this shoe real quick. All right, so
Do you know if Mr. Butts, or do you suspect that Mr. Butts has taken other women to those motels also?
Correct.
You do?
Mm,
I believe you said that you have, of your 5 children with him, 2 are girls
yes,
and 3 are boys.
correct.
And in January of this time, well, January 2023, you were living with your mother on Bedford, correct?
Correct.
Prior to that, were you living in Clinton Township?
Correct.
When did you leave the Clinton Township home and move to the Bedford home?
October 23.
And so there were times when you were in Clinton Township that Mr. Butts would travel out there to see the kids.
Correct.
And then when you moved to the Bedford address, he would go to the Bedford address to see the kids.
Correct.
And then the Bedford address is when Messiah was also living there, correct?
Correct.
Out there to see somebody around the end of 2023, January 2024.
Correct.
Before January the 9th, you had a conversation with Messiah about a location on Outer Drive in Belfort,
Yes.
and that was surprising to you, right?
Correct.
That's on the east side of Detroit.
Yes.
Did you end up giving her directions on how to get to that location?
Yes.
Why did you give her directions?
I was just getting out the shower and just getting myself together. She asked me, she said, "Hey, Titi," she said, "where is Balford and Honor Drive?" And I told her, I said, "You know exactly where Balford and Honor Drive at." I said, "Honor Drive is right where the wine basket at." And I said, "You know where Balford at?" And she was like, "I get Balfour and Bedford mixed up." So I said, "You already know Balford is before Bedford." So she said, "Okay." She said, "Because we are in school and we are learning about our surroundings." So I said, "Okay." But that was the only 2 things that she had asked, was where was Outer Drive and Balfour at.
Does that location have any special significance to you?
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiarized with just picking up Jarvis on Outer Drive in Belfort. It's just on the corner.
On a corner?
Mm-hmm.
Not at an address?
Not on the dress.
When was this conversation that you had about that location? Do you recall?
This was right before Nasiah went missing.
Like how soon before? Weeks?
Maybe it was still like in that same week she went missing.
Mr. Butts didn't have his own vehicle, fair to say?
No, he didn't.
He generally used,
His female vehicles.
did you know Mr. Butts to park at one location and maybe walk to another to kind of try to remain undetected?
Pretty much, yes.
So would it be not out of the ordinary for you to have to pick him up at a random, or what seemed to be a random location to you?
Correct.
You lived with Nasiah for, you said, from about October until January the 9th.
Correct.
So you spent a lot of time around her.
Yes.
You knew her mannerisms,
Yes.
her demeanor,
Yes.
her moods.
Yes.
Did anything strike you as out of the ordinary about how she was acting at any point in time in December or January before she disappeared?
No, Nasiah, nothing have changed her character, none of that. She was just the same old Nasiah. Nothing is different.
Nasiah has a brother, right?
Yes.
Is it an older brother?
Yes.
Now, he had run away in 2023, is that right?
Yes.
Objection relevant.
How was it relevant?
If it's something that had bothered her or something that she was dealing with at the time. Could cause a change in her demeanor.
Overall.
So she did have a brother that ran away.
Correct.
And was that something that she struggled with?
She didn't like the fact that her brother was running away. Yes, she didn't like it.
Whenever ready, Mr. Makepeace.
Thank you. Could you state your name for the record?
And then Harris.
And Ms. Harris, do you know someone or did you know someone by the name of Neziah Harris?
Yes.
And who is Neziah to you?
My granddaughter.
Are you her legal guardian?
Yes, I am.
When did you become her legal guardian?
I adopted Messiah back in 2016.
And that was court work or paperwork filed and all of that to legally adopt her?
Yes, it took a process.
Oh.
Yes.
And back in January of 2024, did Neziah live with you?
Yes.
I don't want to know the specific address, but what street did you live on?
Bedford.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes, it is.
How long had Neziah been living with you at that address on Bedford?
Oh, wow. Basically, I mean, ever since I had her.
Since 2016?
Well, we moved to another house.
Okay. When did you move into the Bedford house?
Let me see. 2019, we moved in that house and then moved in the house that I am now, which is still on Bedford.
Okay. And did Neziah make those moves with you?
Yes.
And in January of 2024, at that Bedford location, who else lived with you?
Just me, the kids. My other daughter lived with me at the other address. But it was just basically me and my kids. And
It was Shannon too.
And who is Shannon?
my daughter,
And what's her last name?
Harris,
And she lived with you and Neziah and the other kids at the Bedford location?
at the first Bedford location.
Okay.
Yes.
At that first Bedford location, how many other kids in addition to Neziah lived there?
My other two, my grandson and my other grandchildren.
Okay. So how many kids total in that house?
Six. Should have been six.
And you and Shannon, correct?
Well,
Living there.
Shannon, she was there, but she wasn't really like there all the time.
Okay.
She would spend more majority of her time at my house, but actually Shannon had her place out in Clinton Township.
She lost it. She was there all the time.
When you were there in January of 24, how old was Neziah at that time?
January 24th. She had 13. She had her birthday in September.
And was she going to school?
Yes, she was.
What school did she attend?
J.E. Clark Preparatory Academy.
And is that also in Detroit?
Yes, it is.
Just generally, can you tell us about your morning?
She just turned 14 on September 16th.
Getting them to school and things like that.
Sure. Okay. 6 a.m. That's when I get the children up. They usually get up, get dressed, prepare themselves. About 7:15, 7:20, we're basically saying prayer and we're loading up in the car. I'm dropping them off at school at 7:30. Breakfast starts at 7:30, and they like to eat breakfast at school.
And does that include Nizaya? You would drop her off at J.E. Clark?
All together, yes.
Now, I want to talk about, let me ask it this way. Did you know someone by the name of Jarvis Butts?
Yes.
And do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today? If you need to stand up and look around.
Ooh, I can't stand her.
I don't see them.
Do you need glasses?
Yeah, my
Okay,
daughter has my glasses.
Okay, Judge, may I take a moment to go get her glasses?
Yes.
May I approach witness, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you.
Maybe you could just stand up and take another look.
Okay. Yes.
Do you see Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Could you
Yes.
point to him and identify a piece of clothing that he's wearing?
Blue uniform with the blue mask.
For the record, the witness has identified Jarvis Butts, the defendant in this matter.
So reflected.
And may I approach the witness again?
Yeah.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 9. And Ms. Harris, do you recognize the person in that photo?
Yes.
And who is that person?
Jarvis Butts.
And is that the same person you've identified in court here today?
Yes.
Excuse me.
And Ms. Harris, how did you know Mr. Butts back in January of 2024?
He's the father of my daughter's children.
And is that daughter Shannon Harris?
Yes.
Okay. How many kids do they have together?
5.
And would he come around your house on Bedford in January or the months leading up to January?
Whenever he did come, he would always pull up in a white truck, and Shannon would go out to the car, and they would sit and talk or whatever. But he would very rarely come in my house.
And during that time when he would come around and sit in his car, was there any times that he would interact with Nizaya that you saw?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay.
She
Now, I
lying.
want to talk specifically about January 9th. You had described your morning routine with the kids. Did you follow that routine on January 9th?
Yes, I did.
And did that include dropping Nizaya off at J.E. Clark 7:15 to 7:30?
Yes.
And can you tell us what she was wearing on January 9th, 2024?
Yes, she was wearing a pair of light powdered blue jeans with a light powdered blue jacket that had the black little fur around the collar. It was like a 2-piece set.
And did she have a sweater on or a shirt on or
Just to
something?
make sure about that picture. Let me do that right now.
And you remember did she have any other clothes with her on the 9th when you dropped her off?
She had her little blue sweatshirt with the little hoodie. She had that with her.
And do you know how or when she got that hoodie?
I bought that hoodie for her. I guess it was in the fall sometime when I bought it. When I first, I mean, it wasn't nothing new. It was just one of her old hoodie jackets she used when she go to gym.
Okay. And in terms of, if you know, the condition of that hoodie on the 9th, was it torn, ripped, damaged in any way?
No, it was fairly really like kind of like still new because she took pretty good care of her things.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
May I approach you?
Yes.
I'm approaching with People's Proposed Exhibit 12. Ms. Harris, do you recognize what I just handed you?
Yes,
And is that a picture of Neziah?
yes.
And do you know when that picture was taken?
The same day, January the 9th, she took this picture.
Move to admit People's Proposed 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted as People's Exhibit 12.
And when you dropped Neziah off at J.E. Clark, what was the routine supposed to be after school was over?
Okay, well, school is over. The bell rings at 2:40. Desire was due to come home. And normally when the bell rings 2:40, 2:45, she's getting on the bus.
And was that's what she normally did on other days?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
And
yes.
what time would she normally arrive back at home?
The Desire would be walking in through the door maybe 3:05, no later than that.
And on January 9th, did she walk in at 3:05?
No, she did not.
And were you home when she didn't come home?
I was there for a little while, but I left out to run some errands. But no, when I got to the house, she was not there.
And at that time, did you have a conversation with someone else about her not coming home, Desire not coming home?
Yeah. When I picked my children up from the after school program, I went in and my daughter said,
Objection to what her daughter said, from hearsay.
English.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, sustain.
Just talking about what you saw and heard, and not asking for what anybody said, but did you talk to Shannon, your daughter?
yes, Shannon said she was not there.
When you got home that day on the 9th, was Neziah there?
No.
And did you eventually make a police report about her missing?
Yes, I did. Yes, I
And when did you do that?
that morning when I got to school, I went up and dropped the kids off to school. I talked with the dean and the principal, and I told them that I was on my way to the police station, and they told me that they would call the police, and the DPS police came there.
And you said DPS, is that Detroit Public Schools?
Yeah,
And did you talk to an officer at that time at the school?
yes, I did.
And was that at J.E. Clark physically at that location?
Yes,
And you said that morning, are you talking about the morning of the 10th?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Was Neziah active on social media, if you know?
Well, as far as I know, she was. I mean, there were times that she was sneaking, go on it, But yeah, she was.
Okay. And did you keep track of her social media pages like TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
I tried. A lot of times, I would take her phone and stuff from her, so, to keep her from being on there,
And after the 9th, did you ever see any posts made by Neziah?
I didn't see any posts. Most of the time,
Naziah didn't even have a
if
phone.
there was
What is she
news or
talking
something
about?
She posts. My daughter or someone would call me and tell me.
Have you ever heard after the 9th, any communication or seen Neziah?
Mm-mm.
When, is that a no?
No,
And when you dropped her off on the 9th at school at J.E. Clark, was that the last time you saw her?
yes.
May I have one moment, sir?
Yes.
Just to follow up, I did forget to ask this. Her bus stop, how far from your house was that in walking distance?
5 minutes.
Do you know where the location that she got dropped off at was, the address or the intersection?
Right there at 3 Mile Drive in Cornwall.
And that's 5 minutes from your house?
Yeah.
And did Neziah have any nicknames that people called her?
Where her family called her Tootle, but I've always called her Glamorous. I've been calling her ever since she was born.
Is it Glamour?
Glamorous.
Oh. May I have one moment, Judge?
Yes. You said Tudor?
Tootle. Mm-hmm.
I know you're interested.
Okay, Russ.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Now, you are Neziah's maternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, right?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah. Should have been 16.
Okay. Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay. Does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have no contact with Neziah like that. She only came around now and then.
Okay. And you testified that you currently stay on Bedford Street?
Yes,
And in fact, I think you testified you lived on 2 houses on Bedford Street.
correct.
And did Neziah have friends on Bedford Street that you were aware of?
She had friends, but her friends didn't live on Bedford.
Okay. Do you know if she ever had any friends over?
No,
Did she ever spend the night at any of these friends' houses?
no,
And at your prior neighborhood, did she have friends that she may have spent the night over?
no.
You indicated that there are approximately 6 children in the house.
Well, not now. When he asked me,
She don't know how many people in there.
Yes.
I lived at 2 houses, which is on the same street of Bedford. Okay, so the house that we lived in before, it was my children and my daughter's children.
Your daughter being Shannon.
No, Marquita.
Marquita.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's the twin sister. Her name is Marquita.
And did Neziah have any close relationship with any of these children particularly?
She was close with my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters, yeah.
Which granddaughter is that?
Neziah, Janiyah. All of their names are similar.
Janiyah is Shannon and Jarvis's daughter.
And Janiyah is Shannon's daughter?
Yes,
That would be Jarvis's daughter as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And at your Bedford Street address, how many adults live there?
just me and Shannon.
Okay. When did Shannon move in?
I'm sorry.
When did Shannon move in?
You heard him.
Oh, I guess back in October, last October or something.
That would be October of 23.
Yeah,
So in January of 24, she was there, correct?
mm-hmm.
Sorry, is that a yes?
Yes, yes.
And you indicated that Desire participated in social media.
She did. She did participate in social media. She was on social media a lot of times when she wasn't supposed to be.
So, did you see her post, or did you follow her post?
I didn't see her really posting anything. I mean, at times when I did check, I didn't find anything.
Okay.
And most of the time, if she did post something, my daughter's one would, let me know, if she posted something. But
So you don't know who her social media friends were?
the only person that I know that was one of her classmates that she would post little things with one of her little classmates.
But it's fair to say there are some things you did not know.
Yeah, well, something, yeah. Mhm.
She ain't know nothing about that little girl. You just had her for the money, and the rest of them too.
Now, you indicated that you drove Desire to school every day, correct?
Correct.
Who else went to school in Desire?
My other two children, Shannon's children.
Okay. And what type of student was Desire?
Nazar was a very good student, very manable, very outgoing. She got good grades. Her attendance was good. Um, the teachers had no problem with her. They really liked Nazar. Nazar got along with just about anybody. She was very likable.
Did she have any disciplinary problems?
No,
Do you recall her ever getting into a fight?
she did.
One fight, more than one fight?
There was a young lady that she had couple of consultations with in school, and it was like an ongoing situation.
Okay. And when did this first?
Now, the friend she's talking about, that situation is the reason why Naziah stopped going to the after school program. Now, I'm not for sure exactly why they were, having beef or whatever, but that particular situation is the reason why all the other kids were still going and she wasn't, and she was just coming home after school.
First start?
I'm not quite sure when it started, but it was like off and on, with this particular school that she had.
And this is for her current school, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And did Desire participate in any extracurricular activities? Was she in band or anything?
She liked it. Gym, robotics, art. I mean, she liked a lot of things that she was, involved in.
And would any of these things cause her to have stayed after school?
The only time she stayed after school is when she wanted to be enrolled in the after school program.
Just a moment.
Did she do no sports or nothing? Like they didn't have them in any kind of activities or anything?
I just want to step back a moment. We asked you about her social media. You said there were some things that you weren't aware of on social media, correct? Did you ever check her direct messages?
Like I said, I did, but when I did, there was nothing on there.
There was nothing.
No.
Okay. Did you monitor any of her conversations?
Yeah, I would, go check,
Okay.
but like I said, a lot of times, I took Nazia's tablet, from her, at one point, so there was really nothing
that I knew of that she was on, unless she got somebody's cell phone or something, you know.
So you did mention that she had a tablet. How many devices did she have that allowed her to connect to social media?
She only had that one tablet that I had bought her. And like I said, I took that tablet and put that tablet up.
Okay, so why are they talking about a phone? Why was she saying her phone? Now she's saying the only thing she had that she could connect to social media with was her tablet. Desire didn't have a phone, from what I understand. She did the little she did have, I don't know if it was the phone or the tablet, but she sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. But yeah, and it only worked by Wi-Fi. And from what I understand, her mom had brought that, had got that for her. So I'm not for sure. Like I said, until I find out otherwise, I believe that Shannon, her twin sister, and Annette, this lady sitting on this stand right now, knows more than what they're saying. And if it ain't all three of them, it's at least two of them, and that's Shannon and Annette right here. So I'm gonna let you guys listen to a little bit more of this testimony, and I'm gonna close it out for tonight. Like I said, this case is so huge. I have so much more I want to share with you guys. I want you to see the testimony, a little bit of the testimony from his sister. She was the one that said that she seen Naziah at the shop, at her brother's shop, the day that she went missing, around about 4:30, 5 o'clock. And also, I want to share the testimony with you from his coworker and hear like how he said things went once they picked Naziah up and all that good stuff. So let's finish this one out.
So on January 9th, you took her to school, correct?
Correct.
And you said it was her and two of your other children that went to school?
My two other children and my daughter's children. I dropped them all off.
And you said that you noticed that she did not come home at her normal time.
Correct.
All right. You did not call the police then, correct?
No. Driving around looking for her. My daughter reached out to some of her classmates. I did nothing. And that morning, I got up, and like I said, I went straight to the school. And from there, I was on my way to the police station to make the report. And they called the police from there. DPS police came to the school.
So the first report you made to the police was the next morning?
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time?
School starts at 7:30, so I got there at 7:30. They got there about, I don't know, maybe 8.
So you didn't go to the precinct, you went to the school, and the school called the police?
Yes, they called the police because I was getting ready to leave, and the dean said, "No, stay here." She said, "And we'll call the police."
Now, you mentioned that you are familiar with Mr. Butts, correct?
I know, Mr. Butts.
Okay. And he dated your daughter Shannon, correct?
Correct,
They did have 5 children, correct?
correct.
And the children, did all the children stay with you and Shannon?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I don't want to give too much detail on the kids. What were the mix, boys and girls?
Can you repeat that?
What were the mix of the kids, boys and girls?
Well, I have a boy and girl, and Shannon has her 3 boys and her 2 girls.
So she had 3 boys and the 2 girls. Okay. And at any time, now, I think you did indicate that Mr. Butts would come over and I think you said he would rarely come in, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But he would come in on occasion, correct?
Not really on occasions, because most of the time when he came in, he would pull up in my driveway, and my daughter would go out to the truck, and a lot of times the kids would go out to the truck. So it was very rare if he ever came in my house.
And you indicated that you were close with Nasiah?
Yes.
Do you think of any reason that Nasiah would not share information with you?
No. Nasiah would come to me and talk to me all the time.
Okay.
If something was bothering her, or if she had a bad day in school, she'll come to me and we'll sit and talk about it. I always kept the door open for communication with Nasiah and with really all of my children. So she always felt free, to come to me and sit down and talk to me about whatever.
So if something was frustrating Nasiah, she would come with you?
She would, that I know of, yes.
Right. If something was scaring Nasiah, she would come to you?
If something was bothering her or she was frustrated about something, she'll come to me and say, "Hey, Nana, can I talk to you?"
If there was any medical condition, she would come to you regarding that?
I believe she would, yes.
You take her to the hospital, take her to the doctor?
Yes.
Just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Can you redirect?
Ms. Harris, I just have a couple more questions for you.
Mhm.
When Mr. Riggins was asking you questions, you said that Mr. Butts would come and sit in his car, right, outside your house?
Yes,
And you said that the kids would go and out to the car.
yes.
Which kids would go out to the car?
His kids.
Would Neziah ever go with his kids out to the car?
If Shannon was out there, she would.
And Mr. Riggins also asked you about the tablet that you bought for Neziah. Do you
Yes.
remember those questions?
Yes.
And when, if you can remember, narrow that down, when did you buy that tablet for her?
I bought that tablet for her one Christmas. I think it was I think it was in 22 when I bought that tablet, at the end of 22 when I bought that tablet for her.
So December of 22.
Yeah, I think that when I bought that tablet.
So she would have had that tablet for roughly just over a year then, correct?
Correct. Mhm.
And did Neziah also have access to a cell phone?
The only cell phone she had access to was one of the cell phones when my oldest daughter came to visit me. She gave to Neziah, but she could only use it by Wi-Fi.
You said your oldest daughter, is that Neziah's biological mother?
Yes.
And through, what's your oldest daughter's name?
Kenyatta Harris.
Through Kenyatta Harris, Neziah got access to a phone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And that's Neziah's biological mother, who left the home at the age of 13, who ran away from the home, Annette's home, at the age of 13.
Mr. Reagan's also asked you about Neziah staying after school. You said that there was an after-school program she was involved in.
Yes.
On January 9th and in January of 24, was she still involved in that program?
No, I took her out of it because she was having problems with one of her schoolmates at that time. The same person that he asked me about before that she didn't get along with.
The same person Mr. Reagan's asked you about.
Absolutely.
And so on the 9th, she was not supposed to stay after school. correct?
No, she was supposed to come straight home.
And you knew that, and you still didn't go look for her when she didn't. You waited till the next day.
And when she didn't come home, you said that you were driving around looking for her, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what efforts you made on the 9th to locate her?
When I went to the school to go pick my son and daughter up because they were also in the after school program, picked them up, went back to the house. I thought she was there, and when I got to the house and I found out that she wasn't there, I got back in the car and I went back up to the school. And by that time, nobody was there. Nobody was at the school. So now, I'm kind of like, I'm frustrated. Now I'm going like, because whenever she wants to stay after school or do something, she would always call me. Well, hey, Nana, can I stay after school? Well, she would call one of her TTs, hey, TT, can I stay after school? So that wasn't like her. So I'm really frustrated now. So now I go back to the house and I'm talking to my daughter, Shannon.
And I want to stop you right there because I don't want to go into what anybody else said.
Okay.
But you went back to the school. Nobody was at the school. You went back to the house. Neziah is still not there, correct?
Correct.
Did you go back out looking for her after that?
I did.
Where did you go looking?
I was driving around in the neighborhood, everywhere. I'm just looking, just like hoping I'll see her,
We have one more, Judge? On the 9th, when you were looking for her, well, let me ask it this way. Did you know Neziah to go to Mr. Butts' place of work to assist him with anything there?
Yes, there was a couple of times that she went with his daughter and they went up there to go clean up at his shop.
And how would they get there? If you remember?
He would come and pick them up.
And was that in that white truck that you talked about earlier?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you yourself know where Mr. Butts worked at?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know, where is that?
It was a Frank's shop located on Warren, East Warren.
And is that the last place that you knew him to work? Or did you know him to work somewhere else?
I knew him to work there, and then the shop moved to a different location.
Did you know where that new location was?
Personally, no.
And did you ever, on the 9th, did you ever try and go to Mr. Butts' place of work to look for Nasiah?
On the 9th, no.
Nothing further, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Pierce, we're done testifying. Watch your step, please exit the box.
Okay. All right.
All right. First of all, before I let you go, let me show you this right here. This is the bus stop. This is her getting off the bus. Now you can see, I wish I could get a better picture to see them shoes. I think I'm gonna try that because I want to see if she had them red and black shoes on, or did she actually have those a different pair of shoes on? Because y'all, I just don't see her putting on those shoes with that outfit she had on. I mean, y'all know how little teenage girls are. But that is her getting off at the bus stop, like, and her walking. As you can see, the weather was kind of funky that day. And this, now I want you to take a real good picture of this picture. This is the picture of her in the coat. This is the coat they're actually talking about. I wish I could get a bigger picture of it, but the coat they're actually talking about is a Rugrats coat. That's the coat that she had on there. As you can see, it's that same coat that she has here in this picture. Now, look at Naziah's face in this picture. Look at her face. Now, how they not know, just looking at her, that she had picked up weight? And you know, I know for a fact that teenage girls can hide their pregnancy. I know for a fact that can happen. I actually had a teenager in my family that did that. And, you know, she was able to keep it away from her mom the whole time up until she went in labor. So I know that's possible. But if they not notice by just looking at her that something is different, just I I that just lets you know they weren't paying her any attention. Like, this baby didn't have a chance. She didn't have a chance at all in this household. All right, guys. So we'll be back tomorrow to cover more of that hearing. I also want to share that video with you, or the interview with you with the family, her estranged family. It's funny because they contacted CPS multiple times about, things that they had observed that was going on in that house. Also, even more when they learned that Jarvis, was a predator. Can't say the other word, but when he was a predator. So they know more than what I think they know more than what they portray. I also want you guys to see that video where the twin sisters' boyfriend was wanting them out the house. Like, it was a little altercation there, with the sisters and him, but he didn't hold back. He didn't hold back at all. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. I really greatly appreciate you joining me. Please make sure you like and share this video. Comment what you think so far about this case. Just about from what you hear or what you know more than what I have already given you, what do you think? Do you think that these two, or Shannon and Annette, are involved in her disappearance? Like, what is your opinion on that? I'm interested to know. Put that in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, get the awareness out there. Let's get this shared. And please subscribe if you have not already done so. All right, guys, that is it for me. I will talk to you tomorrow. Until next time, take care of you.